The following podcast contains opinions from paid professionals. The information provided in this podcast is general in nature and not advice. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Episode 6 of So We Think for the Autumn, our last big day of the Randwick Carnival, looking towards the all-aged and also the champagne for the 2-year-olds. We have to look back, though, before we look forward, Ben Way, and what a day of racing it was on Saturday. Only 3 words need to be uttered here. Pride of Jenny.
Or pride of South Australia. Well done to my Crows. No,
First win of the season.
yeah. Hey, we didn't need to mention that. But to Carlton fans out there. So, on Pride of Jenny, I love the spot that I get to watch the races in studio, out the back, towards the sort of the parade ring, if you will, whereas you were out the front. And from what I'm told from everyone out the front, it was this really rare feeling where the entire crowd, regardless of what you'd backed, stood up and clapped Pride of Jenny home and just desperately wanted her to scramble in. Now, as it turns out, there was no scrambling. But can you tell me how it felt?
Yeah, it felt like everyone had, for tickets for Via Sistina or Plastic Carousel or Buckaroo, they were like almost in the bin at the 800.
Right.
And everyone just went, well, if I can't get that home, I want her to win because such daring tactics. Some of those mid-race sectionals were off the charts.
Yeah.
He's got such a great association with this horse, Declan Bates, and he knows her so incredibly well. But he did say in the post-race interview, I just let her kind of do her thing today. I didn't want to rate her too much. She was feeling so fresh and well within herself. Of course, there were a few sectionals he probably just had to moderate things a little bit, but there was one in the middle, an 11:11, which is pretty swift mid-race over the 2,000 metres.
That said, they've run 2:02.
Yeah.
They haven't broken the clock. So if there was a clock that was broken, it was in the heads of the chasing pack, and everyone's looking at each other. I thought the post-race jockeys was one of the more entertaining I've ever seen, from the embarrassing comment, one word, through to Craig Williams, well, we turn the tables on Cascadian, which I found stunningly perplexing.
Yeah.
But now we've got a discussion, should you always endeavour to win or should you endeavour to finish in the best possible position? My thought there is you should always be endeavouring to win, but that's up for discussion. I've loved the debate since. The only slight negative to the debate has been maybe it detracts from her, and she was unreal.
And now we get to look forward to the King Charles in the spring because that will be one of her big targets before she goes to the Cox Plate. So we're up for something equally as brilliant. She was everywhere come Sunday. People in racing going, did you see this? She was leading by 91, whatever it was, mid-race. Hopefully we get another duel like it, and hopefully she does lead for a fair margin, but then someone else has the initiative to take up the running from behind.
They won't let her go that far.
I don't think so, but it will hopefully get people to the track on that day later in the year, not only for the Everest but for the King Charles as well, because she's our poster girl, and she has proven to be a star for the spring. So we wrap up the championships. Grand finals of Australian racing. Can we give out some awards?
We can give out awards. Now, we wouldn't describe them as time-honoured.
Oh, gosh.
Given they are in their inaugural season. But I would like to think 20 years down the track, the So We Think awards might mean something to somebody. At the moment, they hardly mean anything to us. But with that in mind, what are the categories that you would like to
We're going to go with
up?
Best Ride, Best Win, Most Unlucky. And then we're going to discuss the merits of the Nathan Berry medal as well. So, best ride of the 2 days at Royal Randwick.
Well, Declan was probably the most daring. And there are 2 for best ride in terms of weaving. One I know you're going to highlight. So I'll throw up the other, which was James on Riff Rocket, having sort of dawdled out of the gates and found some early dramas. Considering Jay Wolf was ridden 9.5 out of 10, it took a 12 out of 10 to get the win there, and he really stepped up. That was an amazing ride, and the amazing part about that was that he actually watched the race prior with us, and that kind of inspired him there. So on that note, I think it's a fitting number 1.
Yeah, the best ride of the carnival has to go to Tyler Schiller on board Celestial Legend in the Doncaster for a couple of factors. For getting down to the 49 kilos, which is no easy feat. No. He had to do it the hard way over the 3 or 4 weeks. He did it in a safe way with the guidance of Corey Brown, which meant that he could retain his strength. And I think that's really important to highlight. He didn't just sit in the bath for the 3 days leading up to lose every ounce of water in his body. He worked hard over about a 3-week period with his diet and exercise, got down safely to the 49 kilos. Afterwards, he was absolutely ruined, as he would be, but appreciate the athlete side of that and putting your body through something incredibly difficult and testing it to the limits, but doing it in a way that's so safe. And then, as you mentioned, the weaving, the ducking, the weaving, and the taking of the gaps where...
It wasn't a gap.
Angels shall not tread.
That helicopter shot is probably one of my favourites of all time. Yeah. There was one with Huey on a sprinter in Melbourne. I remember even messaging Hugh and going, have you seen that chopper shot? That was ridiculous. But this is now my new favourite.
Best win of the carnival. I'm going to throw up something alternative here.
Okay, lead the way.
Best win for me is that Randwick track, because I don't think we can discount what pain we all went through at 5:30 a.m. on Saturday morning, day one of the championships. Michael Wood gets my best win because for it to race, I think it was the fairest surface we raced on all autumn after 220 mils of rain. So I think he deserves some accolades there.
Can I invent a new category?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
So, story. Were we going to discuss best story? Because even on day 2, if you look at the Nisiforo story and then the Etzini story, which was terribly sad, but the post-race interview you did was brilliant, and the shots with the family were just heartbreaking, to be honest, Stefano Cerchi's family. From that into what happened with Jenny, I mean, they're all so different, and you probably can't, I wouldn't want to put one ahead of another. But, God, we had some stories.
Yeah, I did think on day 1 that the big fella upstairs, if there is one, loves racing because he allowed us to race day 1. But then those stories that meant so much to Paul and Andrea and Stefano's family, they were the ones you go, if there is divine intervention here, those are the ones winning, and they came off. You're so right. I don't think I've been to a racetrack where there's been that much emotion, to be honest, and how much those wins have meant. So you want to throw in a best win, even though we'll go back to the original categories?
Yeah, we'll go back to best win. I was just thinking of what made me think of that was the provincial champs final.
Yeah.
Because the horse was unreal. They're now talking about Cox plates. And the ride, we didn't mention...
was one of the elite ones of the carnival too.
Was unreal. So... yeah, that would probably be up there. I always love the country championships, and I can't believe that off the back of that, Kayla's joining the Sky Racing family, which is awesome. I don't know.
What about your hip pocket? What did that say?
Celestial.
Yeah, okay.
Celestial and good banter.
Yes.
They were the 2 best results for me, and worst result I think we've discussed quite widely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When they don't even run, that's
best win for me based on hip pocket was probably Wee Nessie in the last and the
not
the
Manal.
Not Manal.
No. Manal. I don't think I'll ever be able to say Manal like that again after watching your video.
I know. Most unlucky. Who should have scooped the pool that didn't?
Does it have to be in the carnival? Because there was a brutal one yesterday. Sir Ravanelli.
Hey, can we go the carnival?
Mate, it stung. The camp was so keen. 13.
Got there on the line.
So $15 open, 13 post deductions, and probably in front before and after. But it was the worst photo because you see it was a grey and a brown nose, and you couldn't see the grey nose. And
greys never get the.
It's very hard when you're hosting, and you could attest to this. And you've just been aggrieved, and you have to be happy for both camps. But deep down, you're like. Anyway, definitely it's. Daylight for me, and I know you'll agree on this front. It's Daylight second. A tissue was the best thing beaten, maybe this year.
Yeah.
By, I think, almost the rider of the carnival. There was nothing he could have done differently, Blake. He just got trapped in.
That's her pattern.
Yeah. A few said to me that there were some options earlier on or towards the inside. He had the spot that he was targeting, and it is the percentages. 9.5 times out of 10, he gets that gap. He just didn't, and then flooded home. So that is clearly my good thing beaten for the carnival.
Espiona has all the talent in the world. Her pattern doesn't help her as well. Neither does the way that she carries her head. So her and the TJ only beaten less than a length.
So that was Nash on, wasn't it?
Yeah, but she just doesn't help herself.
Like imagine if someone said to you, your best thing beaten for the carnival, one was going to be with Blake Shinnon trying to find a gap, and one was going to be Nash trying to find a gap. I mean, neither of them did anything wrong. It's just racing.
Let's review the Nathan Berry medal. Now, we did propose a change to the system last week on this very podcast, that maybe all races across the 2 days of the championship should be counted for points. In the end, with the points allocated on day one to the country championships final and the 4 Group 1s, and then on day 2, God knows why, we still haven't figured this out, the 4 Group 1s, the provincial midway championships final, and 2 Group 2s. James McDonald comes out on top and wins his 4th Nathan Berry medal, including 2 Group 1s, the Derby on Riff Rocket and the Queen of the Turf on Zougotcha. But we've done some
sums,
which
sums. Isn't our strong suit.
No, I did have to count the 1s and the 2s a lot, and I'm pretty certain we've got this right. If every race across the carnival was counted for points, the winner of the Nathan Berry would have been Jamie Carr. 3 wins next to her name, no Group 1s though. So does that raise another question? If we were to reinvent the wheel here, throw in every race of the championships, should we give a little bit more weight to the Group 1s?
Yeah, so we've spitballed. So our structure, our proposed structure would be a 5-4-3 on Group 1s, and I would like to add the provincial and country championships into that, given it is called the championships.
Yep.
So Group 1s plus those 2 races
so
as
that's
a
10
5-4-3.
of the 20,
Yep. And then a 3-2-1 for every remaining race from that point on.
Yep.
Which means if you do win multiple Group 1s, and you probably are the number 1 based on that, like James is, James wins under that structure, and I like that structure.
I think that structure works because the Group 1s are what everyone strives to win. But I would like to see every race counted, because Jamie Carr could ride a broomstick at the moment. She is absolutely flying. And
bad news about Ben, wasn't it?
Oh, I know. We wish him all the best. I hope he's okay with that leg.
Compound fracture of the leg.
Yeah, no good. And he's had so many issues with his hips and had surgery only a few months ago. So
both of them have had their fair share of falls and some. Yeah. So Ben's top 3 for how he'd like this system to work from here on in.
Yep.
Weighted Group 1s, provincial championships, that system number 1 with all races working.
Yep.
Number 2 would be just 3-2-1 on all races.
Yep.
And at number 3, and
the way
I want it gone,
done.
the way it currently is.
Okay.
Happy with that?
Very happy
in
with
agreeance?
that. Yes, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Let's move
good,
forward.
because I've stolen your idea.
To Saturday's racing, the all-age stakes over the 1,400 metres. This is a race won by very good, classy horses, and it's a really good field this year. I've enjoyed going through the form here. We've got some old boys and some new gals on the block.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that Joe Pride has one more trick left in the locker. And
has he had a subpar carnival?
No. He hasn't. He's just had ridiculous carnivals previously.
I think the expectations, though, maybe we all put on him looking at the stock that he had, thinking you could win 5 Group 1s.
Oh, no, but he might win one in the winter.
Yeah.
And he's run second in a derby, beaten ahead. No, I couldn't say... I definitely wouldn't say he's had a bad one. He would say he expected more because he has such high expectations.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, there'd be some other stables that wish they had the Autumn that he had.
So... on that note then, you think Private Eye's got to be given a shot?
I think Private Eye bounces back. And Private Eye on resume is close to the best horse in that race.
Yep.
But whether Private Eye can find its best is another matter. Espiona's the horse to beat off the last start. Who do you have on top?
I have Sunshine in Paris on top. I think she bounces back as well. The 1,400 metres is her go. I know she's elite over the 6 furlongs, but her Group 1 in the Surround Stakes came over the 7 furlongs. We're expecting a little bit of rain in the next couple of days. That's going to help her chances, as it will with a number of these. Private Eye, it helps his chances as well. But I think that she could add another Group 1 next to her name. Ryan Maloney obviously went through a lot to be able to make weight for her. A couple of starts back, ended up in hospital. So wishing Pug all the best on Saturday with his ride. I know he's pushed hard to keep this ride, so hopefully he can reward John Camilleri and Annabelle with a Group 1 victory there.
Okay. No, it's a pretty deep race.
It is.
I've considered about 4 or 5. I had a close look at it last night, but to mine, if you struck a line through Private Eye's last one, you have it maybe half the price.
Okay, let's take a look at the Champagne. So we've had 3 Group 1s for the 2-year-olds so far this season. This is the 4th over the mile. There's one horse who's proven over the mile, and that is the last start winner and on the quick backup in Broadsiding.
Yeah.
James McDonald sticks. James Cummings has had a really good carnival on the quick backup. You keen to stick?
Keen to stick, although I am wary that Broadsiding probably didn't beat much. So you're talking upside against others that maybe are on the way down is my hope. If you're good for anything, you're good for inside Freedman male. Where do you reckon Manal's at? Because my read on it was we should probably tip out. I think they were leaning towards tipping her out, and then a few fell by the wayside. She pulled up okay, and they went, we might be the best horse in this race. Let's go.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe. She came out of that sires, and on Sunday and Monday, I don't think the stable could believe how well she came out of it. So there was a discussion just to keep her in the stable for the next 7 to 10 days to see how she was going and to see if they saw any ill effects of the preparation that she's had, because she's been up and running for quite a long time, but she hasn't shown any signs of being tired. So they thought, well, look, the war of attrition has occurred. The Champagne hasn't come up probably all that strong this year. Lineback is a really interesting horse, only at his 3rd start. He's undefeated. He might be the one who's on that upward spiral, who could jump out of the ground over the mile and, be a super colt for John O'Shea. But I think they thought, well, she's going so well. She's a filly in form. She's come out of the run well. She's a Group 1 winner. Let's go again. Yeah. And I know, knowing the way that Michael does things, they wouldn't be putting her in the Champagne on Saturday unless she was still in A-grade shape.
And I'm not saying she will or won't, but with these 2-year-olds that have had lengthy campaigns, you're not assured they're going to come up the next time. If you're a chance of winning a Group 1, you run in that Group 1.
Yeah.
As long as she's fit and healthy, and as you said, I have complete confidence that's the case. Linebacker, stunning tactic. Eggs all in one basket. We're going to wait for you guys to duke it out, and then I'm going to rock in late. But it's paid dividends.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at the depth of the race, you think, okay, I think you've made the right call here, and maybe Broadsiding's the same. And just on Godolphin, you mentioned the fact they've had a pretty good carnival, whether it be in Sydney or even like winning races like the Newmarket earlier on, with a horse that's already at stud, evidently. You've just been sitting there going, where are your 2-year-olds?
Yeah.
Where are they? We usually have this blue army. I haven't seen any. And maybe a couple didn't quite hit the mark. But now I'm wondering, hang on, did you always have Broadsiding? And did you always think, like John, we're going to wait? And the timing just feels right.
Well, Traffic Warden was nearly a Group 1 winner in the sires, so he was always going to be better over the 7 furlongs, and he proved that on that day. And maybe the same with Broadsiding. Like, we've seen him come through a Ballarat run where he was okay over the 1,100 metres. The 1,300 metres run in the Paul Perry was good coming from the back.
Kind of put the writing on the wall.
As he stepped up to the 14 and the 16, that's where they knew he was going to be best suited.
Yeah. I probably don't mean in terms of headline acts, but in terms of numbers.
Okay.
Because you just know they're there somewhere.
Yeah. They're hiding.
We'll see them at some point. Yeah. Well, they did have that. Yeah, they had that filly who was mad as a cut snake that threw James off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce her name? She had a unusual name.
Anyway, she kind of she might have been the one.
Like not celery, but you know what I mean.
Let's call her celery because it's remarkably close to that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So you're with Broadsiding?
Yeah.
I'll stick with Manal. I'm hoping she just hasn't come to the absolute end of the prep, but she has proven to be a top line of this carnival. Yeah. Don't discount her. She's a really, really good filly. After this, we have a little provincial time. We go to Scone. We go to the Hawkesbury. for a few Saturday meetings. And then we head up north to Queensland for their winter carnival. And I love this carnival so much. Bathed in sunshine. Everyone's in a great mood.
They
Great
are.
Group 1 racing. It's such a good few weeks up there.
For a role like yours, where, you're interviewing everyone pre and post, the mood is so different.
Yeah.
It really is. You sort of got the business of Sydney and Melbourne, and then you get up there and everyone's on a winter holiday.
Yeah.
But there's big prize money and there's a lot at stake. So that's kind of the source of our top 5 for this week.
Futures markets will open soon.
So Anzac Day, or around Anzac Day, I reckon maybe the day after that, but Tim and the team have had a lot on, as you can imagine. So that'll probably be the time that we see it with Tab. And then you would imagine most will follow soon after that with similar prices.
Okay, so let's give you a few now to maybe put in the black book for when those futures markets open. Some of the obvious superstars who will be heading up north. I Wish I Win. He looks to have all those sprinting races at his mercy nowadays because we've had quite a few retired, Imperatriz, Cylinder. He will go to the Kingsford Smith. Autumn Angel, who won the Sydney Oaks, she will go to the Queensland Derby. And think about it, drop him back to the 1400 metres and he will head to the Stradbroke Handicap. So they're the big headliners, but what a great job for you finding the left field under the radar horses who could do something great in Queensland.
Yeah, Ben slightly under the radar, potentially going to Queensland, might target Group 1's top 5 list is. So let's start with Jimmy Star. Now, are you a believer? Not quite yet.
I need to see him win on Saturday. Obviously, he's gone through the grades stylishly. He is a progressive type, but I want to see him win a black type race before I'm chips all in.
Okay. Well, you kind of need to see that if the strategy's on the cards anyway, in terms of rating points and that sort of thing. Okay, let's go to Extraordinaire. So there are a few that are kind of aiming up at that Oaks. We've got Little Genie, who we saw at the midweeks, who's going to that Princess Stakes, I think it is, and then onto an Oaks path. We've got Kenyatta. So when Kenyatta ran around late last year, post-race, as soon as they hit the line, I actually text Brad Gray and Nick Burney and one of our producers, Alex, and said, I've just seen the Queensland Oaks winner. And post-race, Chris straight away referenced the Queensland Oaks. And I was dying knowing that there were no markets available. But anyway, the runs this prep have kind of just been building runs. That's Kenyatta. And Good Banter's the other one that's going there.
Yeah.
All of those are sideshows. They're not on my list. Extraordinaire's
Hang on. These are the top 5.
No, I know, but I'm just saying all the horses going to the Oaks. And the reason I've picked out Extraordinaire is at number 4. So the reason I've gone there is, so this girl's an import, hasn't had a run here, more than likely to go around on Saturday for Annabelle. And they've bought her, she'll be 6 months behind our hemisphere horses in the same age group. So she's giving up a bit of a head start, but they've bought her to target the Oaks. Now, how many times do you see that? These imports come for wait for age races or races older on
City Cups.
into their exactly. Whereas I haven't seen this, and that is extraordinary to me. So in at number 4, Extraordinaire. I'll make it more efficient from here. Number 3, Imperial Force.
I loved his win on Wednesday.
Size JJ Atkins.
Yeah.
And we know Chris loves targeting the JJ Atkins. He's done it with success in the past, and some of them have gone on to have successful stud careers off the back of that. So what did you make of the win? Loved it?
It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's at number 3. At number 2, Mr. Kipchoge.
Who ran last Saturday and had been trialling really well.
Yeah, and was back and hit the line well. There was a run at the midweeks a while back and they straight away said Queensland Derby. And I liked that as opposed to afterthought horses, but I thought that was a run that maybe might go under the radar a little bit from a Derby perspective. I thought he did everything that he could, and given his name, and clearly a staying prospect.
Very well done.
At number 1, and this is a little contro, but I just have a feeling, Goldman.
Who runs Saturday as well.
So Goldman was favourite for the Melbourne Cup at one point.
He won a Roy Higgins a couple of years ago.
Prematurely.
Very.
So went off a midweek win, then went and won that.
Yeah.
And suddenly was Melbourne Cup favourite with
White Marlin,
who
yes.
apparently is still out and struggling. But anyway, Goldman, the chat is that Goldman's flying again. And so I'm keen to have a bet on Saturday. We'll see. But if it is a, hit the line well run, just know that the Doomben Cup is the target. Did not come up after that long break last prep, but the stable thinks Goldman is a Doomben Cup chance. So that's our 5 through to 1. Just wanted to give it a special mention because this list was horses travelling to Queensland. The local that I'm most keen to see is Antino in the
Tony
Strati.
Gollan.
Yeah.
Who wanted to get him into the Strati last year.
Yeah.
Things didn't really happen. It's actually been an amendment to those win you're in races.
Yes.
You can trade them. And I believe there was a dinner had with, I was at the dinner.
So
and
hang on. I believe there was a dinner that I was in attendance at. Yeah.
We did suggest to a few people that maybe the win in the you're ins for the Strati could be traded. And that's what's ended up happening. So
wow.
yeah.
Love
we
that.
just thought there was a few horses that probably won a couple of those races and they weren't going to head towards a straight break handicap. But there was other horses like Antino who would have been weighted up to his ears.
So forgive me, what's that trading based on?
You can give you a spot away.
Oh. It's not
Can
really
select-
not really a trade then, is it? Or is it? Oh.
Don't know.
Interesting.
Anyways,
Love
so
that.
we're done Brisbane.
Yep.
Let's go over west. The Quokka this weekend. This is a race that has worked really well in its infancy. Well done
Yeah.
to Perth and WA and everything. Like everywhere you look, that bright pink is, I can't get away from it, right?
It could be the shittest trophy and the best trophy at the same time. Because it is terribly bad. But it's so bad that I want it in my possession at some
It's
point.
very Willy Wonka, isn't
it
it? All
is.
the marketing.
But no, they've done a brilliant job, and they have taken some horses away that would have otherwise competed in the autumn. Whether they would have won races in the autumn, I'm not sure. But yeah, Overpass and Malkovich are the two sort of talking points from this side of the country. Malkovich, did you see yesterday? I did a little bit of digging. I couldn't help myself. Just had to ask the stable who would lead, and it will be Malkovich.
Okay.
And so
Overpass will take a little sit.
Yes, and we'll get a dreamy run. So good luck to them. It's picked up a good race every time they've gone to WA Overpass, and I feel as though it may happen again.
The other one I'd probably be keen to throw in there is King of Sparta as well. So every time he travels interstate, he's a holiday horse. He likes going to...
He loves Queensland.
Loves Queensland. So maybe he'll like WA as well. I can't have Amelia's Jewel because of the gate. First up...
Run last time was good.
Yeah, I know. But she's very short.
I know, but when you get beaten at a short quote, everyone's so keen to jump off. It's a prep run. And I know that that's not a great bit of integrity chat, but that is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Best from the back in a race that was hard to make ground.
Anything else you want to throw in for Saturday's racing that you're
No,
particularly
I don't.
excited about? Just enjoying a
think
great
so.
day's racing?
Yeah, and if you are keen to get my thoughts, then maybe tune in to Black Bookers. The replays will be available on Sky Racing's website via the catch-up section if you don't catch us every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Emma, thank you for asking.
This is a shout-out to Ali Mosley.
Yeah, she has a lot to put up with every week.
Can you please get these little pushers cut up along with the pushers on Black Bookers for this show, and we'll make a little compilation of your cross-marketing. You've got a great ability to do it seamlessly.
Thank you, but you will note that I only do it for my own shows.
Of course.
Yeah.
You've got self-interest.
No interest like self-interest. Have you got anything?
There was one in race 9 that I wanted to throw in there at odds. I cannot understand the price of Brigantine in race 9.
Right.
So over the 1,400 metres, it's a benchmark 100. It's a pretty even kind of field, maybe with the exception of Jimmy Starr, who does look very progressive. He comes out of the Newcastle Stakes, but I'm wanting to hold my chips until I see him win a black type race. But Brigantine, so we're going to get soft ground, tick. The 1,400 metres, tick. Drawn a gate, tick. Jamie Carr on board, tick. Second up, perform second up as well.
She does have a great association with Brigantine. It was one of
$18.
I had it was one of my favourite horses because we had a fill up at a punters club up at Newcastle, first run after being gelded. Jamie managed to get a win. So, yeah, can't talk you out of it, no doubt.
$18, I thought that was a big price if you wanted to play each way.
Okay.
And that's what...
Enjoy All Age Stakes Day.
Can't wait for it, mate. And then we will be back with the next little mini season of So We Think during the Queensland Winter Carnival. So we'll take a little have a little spell.
Okay, are you coming back to see me, or are we doing it from distance? I'm not going up there.
No, we'll be down here. We'll do it before we head up there. Head up north to Queensland.
You'll head north.
Oh, you're not coming.
No.
Which is sad for you because you did have a great tradition. Now we're delving into weird areas, but you had a great little tradition up there.
Actually, we need to wrap it up, but I will tell anyone that if you go to Queensland, hit me up because there is a hotel with an amazing warm cookie skillet that is just to die for. And you're right, I might actually need to get that sent down to Sydney just to...
Couple of Saturday nights, I said, "Oh, you want to come out for a beer?" No, I'm going back for room service with my warm cookie skillet.
Yeah.
Good luck, punters, and we'll be back very shortly with another season of So We Think.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.